Rock and Roll Geek Show 827.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA, online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Saturday, May 26, 2018, and it is 8:52 p.m. when I'm recording this episode. And I'm about to lose my voice already, so I'm going to open the fifth Tecate of the day. And you know what they say about the fifth Tecate?
No, what do they say?
It's always the best. I have a special This show is it's a guest producer tonight. Little disclaimer. The guest producer is my good friend coming all the way from Bullhead City, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Klein. Also known as John McAllister. That's his DJ name. Joe Klein is a very good friend of mine, and
hey, what's up, buddy?
Whenever he comes into town, I like to have him come on, sit in on the Rock and Roll Geek Show because I love the guy. He doesn't love me as much as I love him, but what are you going to do?
In a purely heterosexual kind of way, I don't.
Of course.
Okay.
So how's it going, Joe Klein?
It's going good, man.
We had a good lunch today. Joe Klein got in last night.
Yeah, it's great to be back here in SF.
He's already
City by the Bay.
Shit up my bathroom 3 times today.
Well, you weren't at lunch. Your listeners weren't at lunch to see all the food you made me eat, all the spicy ethnic food that you made me eat.
We had dim sum for lunch, and Joe Klein enjoyed it very much.
Was there? No, it was great. I really
enjoyed it so much he fouled up my bathroom.
I really
3
did
times.
enjoy it, but it's a lot more food than I normally eat.
So Joe Klein is.
By the way, Michael, the highlight of the lunch was, remember when I had to blow my nose? And then I sneezed into my hands, and I didn't have any napkins. And you were kind enough to say, well, here, use my hair. And that was very, very kind of
There
you.
will be plenty of jokes and wacky bits just like that.
That wasn't a joke or
on
a
this
wacky
Joe
bit.
Klein-produced episode.
That was the
friends.
truth.
So before we get into Joe Klein, he's produced the episode. So he's created a lot of
Blame
things
it all
for
on me.
a lot of things for us to talk about. I even have stuff printed out. That's how old school he is. But before we get into the Joe Klein production of the Rock and Roll Geek Show, let's play a song. In honor of the birthday today, Mick Ronson would have been, you know who Mick Ronson is, Joe Klein?
Yeah, but by the way, you forgot to mention, it's also Memo Day. Commemorating
It's Memorial Day weekend.
No, it's Memo Day. Commemorating the development of the interoffice memo, the beloved interoffice memo. It has nothing to do with memorials.
Is it really?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
You thought it was Memorial Day all these years? No wonder you're still rocking after all these years.
Lots of wacky jokes like that, friends.
That was a
All right,
wacky joke,
Happy
wasn't it?
birthday to Mick Ronson. I think he would have been 72 years old. His
birthday today?
Where's my notes here? So he was born
On the bayou.
in 1946. So I'm guessing that's like 70, 72. My math ain't me forte,
40s,
but I think
60s.
72. He would have been 72, and in honor of Mick Ronson, I'm going to play something from Mick Ronson's last solo album, which was called, what was it called? Do you know what it was called, Joe Klein? It was called Heaven and Hell.
I thought I was going to say Mick Ronson's last album.
It came out in, I think, 96 or something like that. It came out right after he died. And this song is a cover of an Angels song, lead vocals by Ian Hunter and Joe Elliott from Def Leppard.
And it's perfectly appropriate to start a Memorial Day rock and roll.
All right,
Geek
here's
show.
Mick Ronson. Happy birthday, Mick Ronson, up in wherever you are.
We remember you.
shadow of a dream. Caught him with his hand trying to take my crown. Told him that his feet stank and took him downtown. Called him agitator, a spy and a fake. Locked him up in solitary third degree. Take him all night. Take him all night. Take him all night. Tried to appeal to the king and knights, and I'm just exercising my sacred right. The king, he said, you ain't got no rights. You're a man that trade and I got out of my sight. Take him all night. Take him all night. Take him all night. Really Caught him with his hand trying to take my crown. Told him that his feet stank and took him downtown. Called him agitator, a spy and a fake. Put him up in solitary third degree. Put him aboard around a wild whirlwind. Pulled out his teeth and he told him to grin. He gave him a smile, pulled out a bottle of wine. He said, I never existed, you've been wasting your time. Take him all night. 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 Take him
There you go. Mick Ronson. That album is Heaven and Hell. Came out in 1994. That's an Angels cover, obviously.
In memory of Mick Ronson.
Rest in peace. Great man.
For Memorial Day.
The last song he ever played on was, he played a guitar solo on Ginger and the Wild Hearts, My Baby is a Head Fuck, and it's a great solo. Last thing he ever played on. All right, before we get into Joe Klein's production, I would like to thank some people who donated to the show. Thank you, everybody, for donating to the Rock and Roll Geek Show, because without your donations, this show would not be happening, friends.
I believe that.
It's barely happening now.
Yeah, it's barely.
Is that in relation to the donations being low? Quite possibly. So if you'd like to see more episodes, get the donations.
Come on,
out,
man.
please.
Loosen your wallets. Get out your
Exactly.
checkbooks.
All
Come,
right.
open up your PayPal. Come on.
As my one of my podcast mentors, Adam Curry, says, this show is a value for model. So donate whatever you think the show is worth, friends. If you think the show is a piece of crap and not worth a dime, don't donate a dime. But if you're one of those people, you can still contribute to the show by going to rockandrollgeek.com and clicking the Amazon link before you make your purchase, and I'll get a couple of shekels kickback.
I think your listeners should donate whether they like the show or not.
Let me find some music to play in the background.
All
Well, in
right.
honor of Mick Ronson's birthday, I will play something from Slaughter on 10th Avenue, his solo album.
Works for me.
Background music, Growing Up and I'm Fine. There are several ways you can donate besides buying something on Amazon.
What are they, Michael?
You can go to patreon.com/RNRGeek,
Yes.
like these people did. My friend Mike Brown, the guy who first concert I ever went to was with Mike Brown.
Thank you, Mikey.
He donates $25 every episode.
Nice.
Joe Pawlak
Joey Baby.
donates $6.66 every episode.
Love your first name, man.
Robert Harvey,
Bobby baby.
$5 every episode. Brad Shick,
Bradley.
$5. Betty Wood,
Betsy baby. Oh, Betty.
Betty.
Betty baby. Betty boop.
$5 every episode. Daniel Segan,
Danny.
$5 every episode. My good friend Michael Street, friend of the show, $5
Mikey.
every episode. Ken Kennedy,
Kenny.
$5 every episode. One of my best friends, Chiaki Hinohara of the Metal Moment Podcast and the Japanese Metalhead Show.
I love your name, Chiaki. Thanks a lot.
$5 every episode. Brian Springer,
Brian. Hey, there's somebody here named Brian in this
$5
household.
every episode. My other podcast mentor and co-host of Mad at Dad, Dave Slusher.
Slusher the Flusher. Love that guy and his name.
Paul Raub, $2.25 every episode. He kicked in that extra quarter.
Thank you, Polly.
Patrick Shanahan, $2 every episode.
Keep it up, Pat.
Paul Underwood, $2 every
Ooh,
episode.
another Polly.
I can't tell you, but you know it's wrong. You gotta know that she's gone, gone, gone. I can't tell you're not satisfied. I don't wanna damage your friend.
Mario Zothy9 on the Rock and Roll Geek
Rio.
Facebook page that I did not create, but I do approve people. So if you'd like to be on the Rock and Roll Geek closed Facebook group,
Thanks for the support,
look for
Mario.
it on Facebook, and I will approve you, friends. I think I made it where you have to answer 2 very easy questions, so I know you're not a spammer. Thank you to Bruce McMillan, donates $2 every episode.
Goose.
Matthew Hunt, fellow kayak fisherman,
All right, Matt.
$2. Eric Stowell, $2 every episode. Ron Embody,
Ronnie.
$1. Three legs, 4 wheels.
Who the hell's that? Is that his name? Or
Yeah,
her name?
it's his name.
Okay, 3 legs.
$1. Bondstone, $1 every episode.
Bondstone?
Yes.
That's pretty cool sounding. I
What
like
what
that.
else
Who
do
the
we
hell
have
is
here? How about
Bondstone?
this one here?
Keep it up, Bondstone.
Mike Dixon, $1 every episode. John
Michael.
Richardson, $1 every episode.
Johnny Baby.
Corey Kohler, $1 every episode.
right,
That's
Corey.
that's the Patreon donors. By the way, there's a link on Rock and Roll on the show notes at rockandrollgeek.com. You can also go click the PayPal link
I'm clicking it as we
at
speak.
rockandrollgeek.com.
I love that link.
Like Zach Erlocker did,
Zachary.
$20 donation. Thank you to Douglas Free for the $20.
Dougie baby.
Elodie Johns, my first girlfriend ever.
Elodie? How do you spell that?
ALODIE,
That's a cool name.
$20.
That's a cool donation to
Thanks
go
to
with it.
Sherry and Jeff Thielaki.
Sherry and Jeff, are they
For
a
the
happy
$10.
couple? Happy couple, Sherry and Jeff. Thanks,
Thanks to Dave Franco for the $10.
Davey baby.
Find another song here. Pleasure Man, Hey Ma, Get Papa.
Keep those names coming, bro.
How about Slaughter on 10th Avenue?
Okay, works for me if it works for you.
Where am I here? Dave Franco. James Venners for the $10. Thanks to Jason Shepard for the $10.
Jimmy and Jason.
Thanks to BJ Lisco for the $10.
BJ? All right, BJ.
Thanks to Ralph Miller, friend of mine and friend of the show, for the $10.
That's right, Ralphie. We love you, man.
Thank you to friend of the show, Todd Cunningham, for the $10.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you to Dave Jackson in the School of Podcasting for the $10.
Dave, we're going back to school with you.
Thanks to John Tennis for the $5. Thanks
All right,
to
John.
Greg Long for the $5.
Greg, love you, man.
Thanks to John Boveri for the $5.
Lots of Johns that send in money. It's amazing.
Thanks to Jeff C.A. for the $5.
Oh, Jeffrey.
Thanks to Eric Lentz for the $5.
Another Eric in the mix.
Thanks to Craig Vasiloff for the $5.
All right, Craig.
Kelly Mitchell, thank you for the $5, Kelly.
Kelly Baby.
Thank you, Michael Williams, for the $5. Thanks
Michael.
to Sigmund Heidacher for the $5.
Sigmund.
Thanks to Richard Strom for the $5.
All right, Ricky.
Thanks to Dale Roller for the $5.
Dale, I used to love your markets.
Thanks to Andrew Howe for the $5.
Adrienne.
Thanks to Kelly Mitchell for another $5 donation.
Kelly, I've always loved that name.
Thanks to Christopher Del Grande for the $5.
Chris.
Thanks to Jer O'Carroll for the $5.
What's that name? What name?
Jer O'Carroll. Jer O'Carroll.
Jer. I like that. Jer. It's like the first part of Jerry. You sure you're not Jerry or
Thanks
Gerald?
to John Offenlach for the $5.
You're good on the ch sound, Michael.
Thanks to Richard Fusey for the $5. Also for alerting me that it was Mick Ronson's birthday.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thanks to Bradford Page for the $2.
Bradley? Oh, no, Bradford. Okay, Bradford.
Thanks to Deborah Dreyfus, if that's your real name.
Yeah, Debbie, come on.
For the $2.
Come on, Debbie.
Thanks to Richard Fusey for the $2.
Richard, we love you, man.
For another $2. He donated $5 and then he donated another $2.
Richard, we love you more.
Thanks to Peter Spark for the $2. Thanks to Lassie Satvenhagen.
Lassie?
For the $2.
Is that like Lassie?
Thanks to Adrian Boschon.
Adrian.
Bosch Rock on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page, which I did not create, but I do approve people.
Okay. You didn't approve me.
Thanks to Michael Williams for the $2. Thanks to John Skiller for the $2.
Another
and finally,
John.
Thanks to William Moffat for the $1.
Billy Baby.
Thanks to everybody who donates to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I take a sip of this fine Tecate to you, friends.
And while he's doing that, let me second that emotion. Thanks to everybody, man. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here.
Without your donations, this show would die horrible, putrid, stench-filled, undisclosed, degenerative illness death.
And what would I have to do when I come here? Nothing, man.
All right.
Absolutely nothing.
All right, where was I?
I have no idea.
You produced the show, Joe Klein.
Okay. Well,
so I'm heading out to Hawaii on Wednesday. The Butlers are playing a wedding on Sunday, a week from tomorrow, and we have a gig lined up the day before. We figured while we're there, we're playing at a wedding, we might as well try to line up a gig to make it make a little bit of scratch while we're there. We're playing a bar in Maui, and for the life of me, I don't know what the name of that bar is, but it's.
Do you know where it is in Maui?
I can find out here.
The city.
Well, is there a city in Maui? I thought Maui was a city.
No, Maui is one of the islands of the Hawaiian Islands. You know they're all volcanic islands, and boy, do we know about volcanic islands since the eruption on the Big Island. Maui, by the way, have you ever looked at a map of Maui? I mean, a picture of it?
No.
You should just pull it up if you can. They're online. Look at it. Maui is the only one of the Hawaiian Islands, and I kid you not, that is shaped like the upper body of a woman.
Huh.
Really, turned sideways, that is. Turned sideways like breasts down.
Is that what Maui means?
No, I don't know what Maui means, but it's really true. Maui actually, if you look at a map of Maui, it looks like the top half of a woman.
We are playing a place on Saturday in Maui called Mulligan's on the Blue.
And where is it?
100 Kaukahi Street. Kaukahi?
Yeah.
Yes, we're playing there. So if you're in Maui,
does it say what town it's in? Because Maui is an island. There's towns.
96753. It is. No, I don't know what town it is.
Okay.
So it's somewhere.
Let me see.
Somewhere in Maui.
I'm looking on the map to see.
You want me to get directions from San Francisco for you?
No. Yeah.
By the way, Joe Klein.
Yeah, you'll need a kayak, a real big kayak.
Joe Klein produced this episode, so
that's right.
Blame him.
Blame it all on me. I didn't even know
you
went
yes,
to Hawaii.
We're
going to Hawaii. I have no chance to prepare.
I've never been to Hawaii in my entire life.
I've been to Maui. Let me think here now. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And what do you want to know? I mean, you have any questions or want to know what to do? Or
I'm going to go. I have a spearfishing trip booked for Friday. I'm getting there Wednesday.
You're getting there Wednesday. How long are you going to be there?
They're Wednesday through Sunday, and we're flying back the following that Monday.
And when's your gig?
The gig is on Saturday. The wedding is on Sunday. So I'm getting. I don't know what I'm going to do Wednesday when I get there. And I was going to book a kayak fishing trip on Thursday. I'm going to go spearfishing on Friday, which I've never done before, but I'm looking forward to it. And I was going to book a kayak fishing trip on Thursday, but it was $500, and I don't have that kind of money because the donations are a little light. But thank you to everybody for donating. But
just the same.
Yes. Anyway, I'm looking forward to going to Hawaii because I've never been there in my entire life. So
Well,
it's a first for me.
I could tell you a little bit about it. Actually, last time I was in Maui was quite a while ago. It was like 1989, I think. First time was 1975. I went there and I stayed at and it was much less developed than it is now, because 1975 it was how many years ago? Jeez, it's amazing to think that 1975 was 43 years ago. The first time I went to Maui, I stayed in a condo that a lady I knew in L.A., her friend owned in the area called Kihei. And that's kind of in the middle, near the middle of the island. The biggest resort areas of the island are Kaanapali and Kapalua. And that's kind of in the northwestern.
Well, we're not going to a resort. We're not saying.
Oh, no. I'm just giving you a quick overview. That's where the resorts are. That's in the. Well, you don't know exactly where you're going. It looks like in the map you're going to be somewhere in the middle. The resorts are up there on the northwest, kind of the northwest coast. Those elegant, 5-star whatever resorts, and they're gorgeous, pristine beaches. It is great. I stayed on 2 of my trips. I stayed at those. And the snorkeling. Dude, are you into snorkeling?
I'm going to be spearfishing.
Okay. Well, spearfishing, probably.
Snorkeling.
The snorkeling and the spearfishing is absolutely amazing. The waters, I'm hoping they're still as pristine as they were years and years ago, but they're crystal clear blue waters. This time of year, it's going to be great. They're warm. And, the waters are the nicest off of those resorts, but they're nice everywhere. So when you do go snorkeling or spearfishing, are you going to spearfish with a snorkel?
I'm a spearfish with a spear.
No, but do you use a snorkel while you're spearfishing?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Well, obviously you're not going to spear the fish with the snorkel. That'd be interesting. You'll let the fish breathe through. But yeah.
By the way, did I mention that Joe Klein produced this episode?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. No, but you'll really you'll enjoy it. By the way, south of those resorts is the little village. It was originally one of the earliest fishing villages on Maui. It's called Lahaina. Mm-hmm. And you've probably heard of that. Lahaina is pretty well known. Lahaina was kind of the first, even before the resorts were built, it was kind of the first little tourist trap. Lots of gift shops and places to buy trinkets and stuff. I never really liked Lahaina very much, but there's one cool thing about Lahaina there on the coast, down below the resorts, and it is home to one of the world's oldest and largest and most amazing banyan trees. You know what banyan trees look like?
I know Banyan is the guy from Seinfeld.
Well, these are banyan trees, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful tropical trees, and there's this tree in the middle of Lahaina that is just huge.
So I'm going to go see a tree.
Well, no, I don't even think you should go to Lahaina.
I shouldn't go see the tree.
No, I'm telling you that's the only thing about Lahaina that's the least bit, interesting. And blah blah blah. So I'm not even saying you should go there. Now, one of the coolest places to visit when you're on Maui is a little town called Hana. It's this crazy kooky little town way on the east side of the island, and the only way to get there is on a road, and they even actually call it the road to Hana. And it's a little windy road on the northern coast of the island, and you could only drive it at about 25 miles an hour. And so even though it's like 35, 40 miles away, I think about 35 miles away, it takes you an hour and a half to get there. The thing about Hana that's so cool is they have an attraction there called the 7 Sacred Pools. And that wasn't the actual real name of the attraction. It had a Hawaiian name, but the owner of a hotel called the Hana Inn or whatever that was built years and years ago named this attraction the 7 Sacred Pools. It's a series of waterfalls that form into pools, and there's 7 of them. And over the years, they kind of developed a reputation for being real cosmic and having all sorts of cosmic powers. They actually don't, but it's a very cool, very, very cool attraction. One big problem, though. I'm telling you can't go there. You shouldn't go there either because, unfortunately, I'm not sure. I think it was last year. There's a big possibility, a threat of mudslides. So the Park Service has closed down that 7 Sacred Pools area.
So don't go there
indefinitely. Yeah, everybody would go to Hana. when they.
So I
when
shouldn't
they-
go.
You shouldn't go to
I shouldn't
Lahaina
go
because
to-
it's not. It's
I
not.
shouldn't go to the trinket place.
That's
I
Lahaina.
shouldn't
yeah.
go to the falls. Is there any place I should go to?
Yes, there is. There is. And by the way, the seven sacred pools are great. It's just they're closed. What can I tell you?
And Mulligan's on the Blue is on Kihei.
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 Kihae.
Yes.
Yeah, that's by the way, that's a cool area. That's the first place I stayed when I went there. It was hardly developed at all. Like the condo I stayed in was one of the few things there. I'm sure it's all developed. So, you asked what is the cool thing to do. Well, this is by far the coolest thing to do and probably the best thing to do ever on Maui, and that's to go up and look at the Haleakala crater. Now, the Haleakala crater is really unique. It's one of the biggest volcanic craters in the world, and it's quote-unquote a dormant one now. It's all filled in with lava over the eons, over the centuries. So it's this giant crater that's all filled in. It doesn't have any blowholes or anything. But we all know what's happening on the Big Island right now. And who knows? Any volcano over there could erupt. Volcanoes are what built the Hawaiian Islands, let's face it. So, but as of right now, that particular volcano, like others on the Hawaiian Islands, is dormant. And it's still safe to go up to. This is the coolest thing. It's 2 miles up. It's 10,000 feet up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Ponder that for a moment. And so you get up there by a little windy road.
Uh-huh.
Very cool.
Can a rental car make it up there?
Yeah. A rental car make it up. Didn't you say you're renting a Jeep or something like that? A Jeep, whatever.
Yes.
Okay. It'll make it up there. It's just a little rugged. Lots of curves, so it's going to be kind of slow. And it's going to take you probably an hour to get up there. After the show, I'll give you the directions or whatever, and you could find them. But you're going to want to go up there. Now, the best time to go up there, it really is awesome. I mean, almost 2 miles up in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on the rim of a giant volcanic crater, and sunrise and sunset's amazing. But to get there for sunrise, you're going to have to leave. You're up early anyway. You're going to have to get up and drive
And
up.
why do I want to
dark.
go there on sunrise?
Well, because sunrise and sunsets up there are awesome. And you have to understand that the whole clouds, the trade winds and the clouds that are in the ocean that form around the islands, you're over them. You have them below you. So the views you have in watching the sunrise from up there is awesome. But no, you don't have to go on the sunrise. You go there anytime during the day, and it's great. It's one other thing you might want to think about. There's companies that actually rent out bicycles, but here's the best part. They drive you and the bicycles up to the rim. They drive you up, and then you could coast down on the bike. So that's another way you could do it.
All right.
And so the Haleakala crater is probably the main attraction. It is the main attraction of Maui, and I highly recommend it. Don't fail to miss it if you can. That's kind of my little Maui primer.
All right, there you go. If you're in Maui, look Joe Klein up.
Yeah. If you were in Maui 20 years ago, you should have looked me up. I had a great time there, man. I loved it. It's an awesome, beautiful place, and let's keep our fingers crossed that if you do go up to the crater, it doesn't erupt while you're there. Any other questions? Any questions?
Not really.
Okay.
So
there you go.
And what brought you up to San Francisco anyway? This time.
Well, I decided to make a road trip. An old friend of mine, I'll keep it short. An old friend of mine from L.A. from high school days.
By the way, for people who might be new, Joe Klein is a guy who used to do all the radio ads for Casablanca Records, including and he did stuff for
Angel for one.
Oh, he did Angel. That's right, the band Angel.
Casablanca, Warner Brothers, Capitol, EMI America,
he
Motown.
did ads for Plasmatics. Anyway,
Areola
America. Everybody knows Joe Klein. Just in case you don't.
Yeah, don't you know who I used to be? You're the only one that doesn't know who I used to be.
So you were up. So you were in L.A.
I went to L.A. An old friend of mine who's moved to Australia decades ago in the early '80s. Was there visiting in what he said might be one of his last trips because he used to come over to visit his relatives in the USA, and they're all dying off. And I really wanted to see the guy, and I don't know when I'll see him again. So I made a special trip to L.A. to see him. His name is Mike Tanzer. And it was great to see him and his wife. We had a great time, and he made it back to Australia, hopefully safe and sound. And I hope to see him again one day. Just before that, the weekend before that, I had a great dinner with a really good buddy of mine, he's not a really good buddy, but he's a friend, and a much better friend now, named Chuck Martin. He's a radio guy, like me, a radio guy. And he used to, he worked at he had the typical DJ story. He's older than you and I. And so back in the 60s, he worked on about 20, 25 different stations, just like you hear about DJs, station to station. He'd work for a week or a month or 4 months, and the program director would call him in the middle of the night drunk and fire him,
And how many stations did you work at?
Oh, I worked at one. But I was in and out of radio and decided pretty quickly when my drunk program director called me in the middle of the night and yelled at me for no reason, and I couldn't even understand what he was saying. And I said early on, I was only 18, I said early on that that's it. I think I'm gonna skip radio and go on.
You were 18 when you worked at the radio station?
I was 18.
So
I worked at Caffey in Bakersfield, K-A-F-Y.
So when you got
Bakersfield.
the servicing from the two girls, you were 18 years old. Oh, under the console.
We're back to. I knew you were going to get back to.
You were 18 years old.
I was 18. Do you know that the first night I went on the air and followed a guy named Jerry Clifton, who I thought was
Jerry Clifton. What was it? The call letters?
K-A-F-Y.
Jerry Clifton here, Caffey FM.
Caffey, Caffey. It was Caffey AM, the Big 55 AM.
The Big 55. Jimmy Cliff. What's his name?
Jerry Clifton.
Jerry Clifton.
John
McAllister be right up after him.
That's right.
That was his DJ name.
Yeah, that's
John
right, folks. They gave me that name because they had a jingle already made up with that name. They'd
John
ordered
McAllister.
John McAllister, Caffey #1. But I just wanted to tell you.
Why was it Caffey #1?
That moniker was used by a lot of stations back in those days. If they were #1 at some point, they just wanted to call themselves #1 and incorporate it into the jingle. So the K-A-F-Y, they pronounced it Caffey, like Kathy, but with an F, and the jingle went Caffey #1, and that was it. But here's a real interesting quick side note. My very first night on the job, after this guy, Jerry Clifton, and he didn't show me how to do anything. I was terrified. I'm working at this station. I had to wing it. Fortunately, I kind of knew a little bit about control boards and stuff already, but I go on the air. Well, back in those days, we had to also read newscasts. Rock stations, top 40 stations were required to have a certain amount of news in their mix. We had a little newsroom right behind the DJ booth in this tiny little building on the east side of Bakersfield. And they had those teletype machines in there. You know, that teletype sound.
Yes.
Anyway, I'd have to go in there every hour and go to the machine and rip off the top stories. They'd have it say, headlines, and read a little bit of news. And I went in there at midnight or I don't know, 12:30, whatever it was, for my first newscast, and ripped off some of the teletype paper to see what I had to read. And, and now the latest news. And the lead story was rocker Jim Morrison had died. His body had been found in Paris. And that very day. And by the way, I believe it was July 3rd.
Ladies and gentlemen,
71.
We have very sad news.
Yeah, I did.
I hate to break it to you here. We told the story the last
time.
Oh,
we did? I don't remember. But see, I don't remember anything. Anyway, okay.
This is terrible, folks. The genius, Jim Morrison, has passed.
He remembers the story better than me. I don't have confirmation.
We're trying to get confirmation as we speak. My sources are telling me, though, that it's actually true.
Right. And you remember the song I played because we were playing it at the time?
This is the end.
No. Yeah, that would have been apropos.
L.A. woman gonna have the do. Is that what it?
No, we were playing Riders on the Storm.
Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, with all the thunder at the beginning. And the rain. Anyway, there you go.
Jim Morrison, overrated. Hack.
Yeah, I know. Well, we bored your audience with that same story again, but there you go. That was my story. But anyway, I had this dinner with this guy, Chuck Martin. It was great. We told radio story after radio story. We knew tons of the same people. Chuck got out of the radio business. He stayed in it 20 years, unlike me, and then got out and started his own production company and produced and voiced commercials, just like I did, but I just got into that sooner. As a matter of fact, one of his most famous ads that he voiced was "Only from the Mind of Minolta." That was him, and he did countless other big time ads. So we had a really, really great talk. And but his last stint in radio was in the late 70s when he was hired to take over the reins, become program director of a station, a very well-known station in L.A. called KHJ on 930, 93 KHJ. And the station had been the number one station, solid number one station.
KHJ number one.
Yeah, well, their jingle didn't do that.
Boss Radio.
Boss Radio. And they were number one for about 5 years, from 65 to 70, and started a slow decline. And in 1978, when they were practically on the verge of just falling off the charts entirely from a rating standpoint, they brought Chuck in because he had brought a lot of stations back from the dead, so to speak. And he took over the reins of KHJ and, of course, never returned them to the glory days of the 60s, but did manage to almost quadruple their ratings. Now, I don't know if you have them. Didn't we? I played you some KHJ jingles. Did you save that file?
93 KHJ.
So he produced all these?
No. He was just. This is just giving your audience a taste of KHJ. If they've
93 KHJ.
Very distinct melody.
More music, KHJ. More music,
More music!
KHJ.
That was to go from a fast record to a slow record.
93 KHJ plays more music.
Thank God they play more music.
KHJ,
Less music!
boss hit bound.
There's your boss.
More advertising! Less music!
Actually, it was quite the
93
opposite.
Well, they had no ads.
No, they did, but they do what they called music sweeps. They'd play.
We got a 96-mile-an-hour music sweep coming at you on KHJ.
And-
I'm head douchebag Michael B.
Anyway, the point is, you played some of those jingles, and there's probably a few of your listener out there that remember those. That melody and jingle package was
KHJ double play.
A twofer.
93 KHJ double golden.
that means two oldies in
93
a row.
KHJ golden.
Yeah, anyway, we got the.
KHJ weather.
It's time for the. It's sunny out there in sunny LA.
Sunny today,
KHJ.
hot tamale.
Oh, it's raining cats and dogs out there on KHJ.
Anyway,
The top 100 of the 60s.
We got it
Okay.
coming at you with John McAllister coming up right after me. Glenn Forceworth.
all right. Well, I think we got the idea. The thing is, those.
Rock and roll review.
Well, you know, those jingles.
on,
Those
I think there's
jingles.
one more.
Those.
Rock and Roll Geek Show.
Oh my.
San Francisco. I'm Michael Butler coming at you on. Hello, I'm head podcaster Michael Butler coming at you. Rock and Roll Geek Show. We got a twofer coming up. San Francisco. Right at the #1 podcast, friends. What a douchebag.
I can't believe.
Wow, this guy did pretty good production.
I'm speechless. You actually, you didn't tell me about that, Michael Butler.
Hey,
you
we
dog,
got
you
a
dirty
10-song.
dog.
We got a 10-song fast hour. What was it? We got a 10-song power hour coming at you.
Power hour.
All talk right here on Rocky Show. San Francisco. Hello, friends. This is the podcast man of the hour, Michael Butler, coming at you on Rock and Roll Geek Show.
Okay, we get it.
San Francisco. Hey, coming at you. We got a brand new song. Hey, well, let's play. What a douchebag.
Oh boy, I really don't know, folks. Okay,
Let's
listeners,
talk in the show.
I really wasn't expecting that. Anyway, those jingles became very popular around the country with every different radio station. The same melody. Little did I know that Michael would contact them all these years later and have a custom one made for him by the Bill Drake, by the Johnny Men Singers.
Why don't we play a song with
Wow.
that little lead in? How about
Wow.
that?
Yeah, please. I need to recover.
All right. Here's a song. This band was turned on to me by my good friend Chiaki Hinohara. They're called The Cruel Intentions. The singer was in a band called Veins of Jenna. I don't know his name, but they're from Oslo, Norway.
I love Oslo. What are you talking
All right,
about?
let me do the little talk up here. Hello! Coming at you! Hey, I'm DJ Michael Butler with the Cruel Intentions and the brand new tune called
Nice name for a song.
Reckoning. Oh, shit. Okay. All right. Wasn't ready.
Are you back? Are you back?
There- all
Sorry,
right.
gang. Michael's grabbing me a beer.
Joe, that was the Cruel Intentions. I like that song. That's a good tune. I've heard a bunch of their other songs because Chiaki turned me on to them about a year ago. This is way better than their old stuff. I think they just got a record deal, so maybe, hopefully, the rest of the record is as good as that. It was a catchy tune. By the way, there is a new
Does that sound familiar?
bathroom wall rock and roll geek clothing line website up now, and I will post a link to it on rockandrollgeek.com. But he does a brand new design, which is really cool. It's the cream. It's a ripoff of the Cream design, but instead of Boy Howdy, Alex, the guy who runs bathroomwall.co.uk, created this shirt. It's a ripoff of the Cream design, but instead of Boy Howdy, it's a picture of me, your friend Michael Butler, playing bass, taken from Casey Crenshaw's tattoo that he has on his leg, and it has me playing the bass, and it says, and I have a little comic book bubble thing. It says, "Stay frosty." It's a very cool design. I might have to buy one of these myself. It's $15.99, but if you use the code I love Michael Butler, you get free shipping. I'm going to post a link because that's another way you can support the show as well, because I get a small kickback. But these shirts are really cool.
That image reminds me of the old R. Crumb comic book.
That's right. It's Cream. That's why I said it's Cream magazine.
Yeah.
Boy howdy.
Yeah. Did you like the Crumb stuff?
Robert Crumb did the boy howdy. design.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's a really
all
cool
of his stuff had that.
It's a really cool design. There's also the Disco Sucks shirt that's on there. All kinds of cool Rock and Roll Geek designs. And various
Do you have a John McAllister shirt yet, or a Caffey #1?
I should get him to do that. Right. Anyway, I'll post the links. I just wanted to point it out that it's a really cool T-shirt design. I'm
looking at it right now.
I wish he would send it to me because I really want one badly. I'm tempted to buy one right now. I'm hoping I get one in the mail, courtesy of Alex soon.
I wish I were. Why hasn't he sent you one?
I'm waiting for it.
I would think the guy would like.
I get an email from
Good
Adam
Lord.
Brusha, friend of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I don't so much of a good friend. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
Great episode, Michael. Loved that song by the Brought Low, which I played on the last episode, which was sent to me by Mark Williams. He sent me the stack of CDs that I'm holding in my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 25 CDs. There's like 3 CDs on each one of these burnt discs. Anyway, he likes this song. I played a song by the Brought Low, which was a really good tune. Turns out the album is great, too. Hard to believe they're in New York City. By the way, the guy who's sticking up for Lou Reed seems like a hell of a nice guy, but your original opinion on Lou Reed was spot on. I originally said Lou Reed was way overrated and he sucked, but I've softened my stance on Lou Reed since then. So.
Hey, take a walk on the wild side.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I do have to say that the Color Girls Go doop de doop de doop. That was kind of original and interesting, but I have to agree with you. I mean,
Lou Reed wasn't that great.
Well, he just didn't. I mean, he didn't bowl me over with his.
I don't dislike him as much as I used to dislike him.
Yeah, there's already too much hate in the world, Michael Butler.
So while I was in between the last episode and this episode, last week I went fishing. There was a big kayak fishing event up in Shelter Cove, which is about 5 hours north of here. I had a great time. I caught a shitload of fish. It was so much fun. Anyway, while I was there, a new Cheap Trick song was released.
Hey, and you got to make me some fish of yours that you caught before I leave
they're in
here.
the freezer. I'll thaw them out, and I'll try. Maybe I'll do fish tacos for dinner tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that.
Works for me.
I'll invite Chiaki over, see if he wants to come.
Okay.
He might not want to come.
After this show, like, I can't blame him.
I might lose all the donations.
That's right. Stop donating.
Anyway,
Stop donating, and the shows will
Cheap
get
Trick
better.
came out with a new song while I was fishing, and I have not played it. So I'm gonna play it and comment on it while it's playing. Okay, so a little bit of listening with Butler. Whoa! The song is called "The Summer Looks Good on You," which I'm not crazy about that title, but anyway, let's
Sounds
listen
kind
to
of
it a little
pedestrian of a title, but
Here comes the summer.
All right.
wow.
Sounds to me like they're right back to the power pop, which, by the way, I have been saying, get back to power pop. Stop trying to rock so hard and get to the power pop. So maybe they listen to the Rock and Roll Geek Show or the Cheap Talk podcast.
The summer.
I like that. Oh, that's good, too. Great too. The lyrics aren't fantastic, but it's catchy as hell. This part here, I really like.
I'm already hooked by the hook.
The bridge, the B section, or the pre-chorus here. The chorus is kind of the worst part of the song, but I like the rest of the song. This chorus is okay. The rest of the song is great.
The summer looks good on you.
There you go. I think that's the best thing they've come out with from the last two albums. I hope the rest of the album sounds as good as that.
That is an interesting track. Really nice harmonies on there. Totally unexpected.
Oh, I forgot to play it out. This coming out of it. I'm sorry.
Lord.
All right.
No, I like that song. That's pretty good. I mean, it's a great concept too, and it's kind of an interesting blend of a kind of a real pop concept, because summer's always been such a subject for top 40 pop records every summer. So it's actually kind of pretty cool. It's kind of like a return to the 60s doing a summer song.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Somebody sent me something. There's on the Oxford University. Did you go to Oxford University? No. You know what?
I didn't attend, but I did go there once. So yes, I did go.
I forget who sent me this email, but said, "Hey Michael, I know you're a massive Alice Cooper fan, so I thought you might be interested to know that Alice Cooper was on an Oxford University English finals exam this year. I attached a copy so you can see it. Oh, so this guy must have went to Oxford.
Right.
I'm not sure of the context for the pardon me, in Burma is fine to cocktail. I'm not sure of the context of the quote, but I thought it was interesting that they chose to use his lyrics. So, if anybody knows what this means, because I don't know where this is on the test. I don't know what the question on the test is, but it says 6. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Only women bleed. Alice Cooper from the 1975 album Welcome to My Nightmare. If anybody knows what that question is on the test, because the question or the 5, what came before that is, I know how to convert my will in others' lust of little stuff unto myself to weave a web of trust, and how to hide my what blah 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 blah. Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey, which is followed by Alice Cooper. So I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't even. Was that a question? I don't even really quite understand the concept. This was a excerpted from a test at Oxford.
Yes,
and so we don't
final exam test.
We don't really know what we it's kind of out of context. We don't know what they're being asked to say. Like in other words, this could have been, name the whatever, name the genre, or name the underlying motivation. I
probably
don't know.
What is the common thread?
Yeah,
you probably have to do an essay of the common thread
like
of all these quotes.
There you go. Yeah,
because the one before that was, he was shrewd by 3 parts, that is to say, my bodily sight, and by word formed understanding, and by gospel sight. Yeah, I think, here you go. I made it bigger here. And you worshipful mercers, though costly and fine, ye try. Oh, yeah, I got it.
And the answer is?
What is the common thread of all these? All right. Fuck if I know.
God, that is. And this was sent in to you by a listener.
Yes.
That went to Oxford.
Yes.
We don't know if he attended. He just went there. So
Alice Cooper made it to an Oxford finals exam. There you go.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, they're boring as hell. I know.
Well,
maybe this will pep up the show a little bit.
Rock and Roll Geek Show. San Francisco.
Michael Butler is kind of like the walking definition of "Don't Get Me Started."
All right. Anything else, Joe Klein?
Oh, by the way, yeah, I did want to mention that, again, getting back to Maui, and I really hope you have a real great time on that trip. And then
do you really?
I do. I know, like, you really appreciate it. I really do mean that. I hope you have a good time and the gig goes good. When you do go up to the crater, keep in mind a couple quick things, and you really have to do that. That's the main thing to do there. Keep in mind it's a couple miles up. The air is
so
thin.
I'm assuming that there's a line of cars all going up to the crater. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. There won't be a line of cars. And it doesn't matter. The road is windy anyway, so you're going to have to go slow. Or you could do that bike trip. But keep in mind the air is real thin, and it's very cold up there. I mean, you're in Hawaii. But
Steven Tyler lives on Maui. I'm going to look for his house.
Why don't you give him a call and ask? Maybe he'll take you.
Anybody knows the address of Steven Tyler's house? Can you send that to me?
Does anybody know Steven Tyler?
Yeah. I would like the address of Steven Tyler's house and the address of Mick Fleetwood's place. I would like to go pay both of those guys a visit. I know they both live on Malibu or on Maui.
Maui. Oh, speaking of Malibu, yeah, there you go. You just reminded me. After I met with my friend Chuck and then my friend from Australia, I spent a couple days in Malibu for the first time in a lot of years and had a really, really good time. I stayed with an old hippie friend of mine. God, he's got a place buried in Latigo Canyon, if any of you know where that is. Anyway, it's in Malibu, up the hill and then down into a gully. Amazing. The guy barely he's really living the hippie lifestyle here in the 2008.
What does he mean, the hippie life?
Well, he lives in it's all
does he have
just
a chicken coop and stuff?
Well, almost. He doesn't have that, but it's a homemade deal with
a yurt? Is it a yurt?
No, it's not a yurt, but it's a crazy collection of little handmade shacks and lean-tos, and there's shrubbery and oak trees all over the place. He gets water from a neighbor on one side and electricity from a neighbor on the other side.
You mean he steals their electricity?
No. He has a deal with them that he pays them, but he didn't want to pay to get the meters in Malibu. He didn't want to pay to get the meters and the electricity brought in. So
did you stay at his house?
Yeah, I stayed there one night. It was a pretty rugged deal, but
he have
I
an
really
extension cord run into his neighbor's house?
Kind of, yeah. I don't know the exact.
And
exactly
at night,
how
do
he
you guys
does
have to use kerosene lanterns and
No.
stuff? Candles?
He's got a couple little lamps, and he's got
So he had no internet, huh?
No, he's got no internet, and there's barely. He does have a cell phone, but there's barely. There's barely any cell service up there. He's just in this gully. It's kind of hard to. He's next to a little creek that feeds down to the.
So
ocean.
he's got a cell phone.
He's got a cell phone, but there's hardly. You have to stand.
And where does his water come from?
Water comes from a neighbor.
So he's got a water hose coming from his neighbor's garden hose?
He's got a garden hose from a neighbor, and he fills up these. He's got a 1,500-gallon water tank that's above the property, so it gravity feeds water into his sinks and his toilet.
He's got plumbing.
And he's got a septic. Yeah, kind of, yeah. He's plumbed from the tank.
Did you take 4 shits at his house?
About 6 or 7, actually.
Okay.
Per
How'd
hour.
you wash your hands?
Per hour. No, I told you I don't
did?
wash my hands. I leave that to you after you pull the Rock and Roll Geek Show out of your ass. But no, so that was a real good time. I really enjoyed that, and I saw a couple other friends
Does
of
he
mine
have pets?
from Malibu. Yes, he's got a gorgeous yellow, sweeter than pies, a yellow lab. Really,
Does
nice,
the dog sleep in the house?
Dog sleeps wherever. It's Malibu it's chilly.
So he's rich. He lives on Malibu. So he's got a house on Malibu, but he doesn't have any electricity. He's off the grid.
Yeah. He's not.
Is
rich.
that legal? What if the PG&E found out?
It's not. Well, he's managed to skirt by all that. He's not rich, but his property. He owns 2 adjoining lots there, but they're not prime. They don't have a view. They're in kind of like a gully, a canyon.
Do his
but
neighbors
they're still worth quite a bit of money.
Do his neighbors know that he's leaching their electricity and water?
Yes, he has a deal with them. You're such a muckraker. He has a deal with them. He doesn't steal from them. They know he pays them a little bit for the water. He doesn't use that much. And the electricity, I don't know. I didn't ask him how much. I'm sure he gives them $100 a month or something.
He lives by himself?
He lives by himself, and he's got lady friends that pass through. He's 70. He's 74 years old.
He's 74 years old. He's got lady friends that pass through.
Yeah, he's a ladies' man. He always has to.
He's
Actually
pass through. How many ladies passed through when you were?
Oh
staying
God,
there?
well I don't know. No, none while I was there, and I'm sure it's not anywhere near it used to be.
So there was no. You and him didn't hook up with a couple of broads.
No. But this guy, he's been around Malibu for 35 years, and boy, he's a good-looking guy, and he really, had his share of women over the years. He's a good-looking blonde surfer dude.
And he still has ladies passing through.
Still does. And by the way, he's aged pretty well. His hair is like only half gray. It's half gray and half blonde. It's pretty wild. Anyway, I had a really good time. His name is Gerrind, Gerind is his.
Is that the guy who, the DJ friend you knew from when you were doing ads at Casablanca?
The DJ guy when I was doing ads.
It was a DJ.
Oh, no.
There was a DJ who stole.
No,
that's
a story for another time and date. It just doesn't matter. We have stories, but let's let your listeners.
He created an ad for Donna Summer and Barbra Streisand did a duet or something for Casablanca Records,
and the rest is history.
He had to create the ad. He had the song, and a DJ friend of his stole the song, stole the cassette, and played the song on the radio. After Neil Bogart specifically told him not to let any DJs get a hold of it.
Neil Bogart, by the way, was the president of Casablanca Records.
Needless to say
And he
that
really liked me up until that
until
time.
then, Joe Klein fucked up. He
Yeah.
let this
Well,
guy walk
I
in
guess we told the story. So much for not telling the story. Okay. But
Joe Klein's got so many great stories. I listen to these stories all day at my house, and it's just fascinating for me to hear. And he won't tell them on the show.
Well, that's not true. I've told a zillion stories on the show, and there'll be zillions more. As your listener knows.
You want to tell the Wendy O story again?
Did we already tell that one on the show?
I don't know. It's probably a long time ago.
You remembered it, but so the thing is, Michael, the reason there's all those stories are there, and just like when I got together with that guy Chuck Martin, my radio friend, we were in the same business with kind of parallel lives, even though the timing was different. So it was he was in L.A., I was in L.A. It's a somewhat contained community, as you know, and we just knew so many of the same people and had so many similar shared experiences. It was just amazing. But the reason there's so many stories from me to you and all the people listening is because I was in a kind of a crazy, unique position. I was doing ads. I wanted to be a record producer, and yeah, I produced a few records. As a matter of fact, I think I've got one related to the Maui thing if you want to play it, but I wanted to be a record producer, got sidetracked in producing ads for records, but producing ads for records, that not only put me in between like the ad business and the music business, but it also gave me a chance to work for a lot of different labels and even have the artists come in, like, remember Wendy O. Williams, and a lot of the artists, the Missing Persons came to my studio. David Bowie came to my studio, for God's sake, one time to record sound bites for an ad for him. So it was pretty cool. Here I was in the middle of knowing artists, getting tickets and backstage all access passes to concerts and the after parties and all that stuff. By being in the ad business, by having a radio production company, a commercial production company, and producing ads for records. It was a crazy, interesting, and kind of exciting life for about 15 years that kind of happened by accident. It's not that I planned it. I didn't plan that to be the mainstay of my career, producing ads for record albums. But like you said, it resulted in a lot of stories. I mean, when you got David Bowie coming to your house one week and you're going to all these parties and all these concerts and doing ads for these labels and literally going in and out of the labels, just walking in and out of record companies literally every day, going up and down the elevators in the round Capitol Records building. That was just fascinating stuff to me. I had to pinch myself. I'd say, I can't believe I'm parking in the parking lot next to Capitol Records and walking in there and going up the elevator. And you'd run into artists. They'd be there at the label. I'd go to the department that dealt with me, and that was called Creative Services. They did the album covers and the notes, the artwork on the albums and the notes and the liner notes and the trade ads and the magazine ads and the radio ads and the television ads, which I produced. And the artists would be in there. I'd go in to have meetings with the Creative Services Department. It be at EMI America Records, and Peter Wolf of the Jay Giles Band would walk in when I'm meeting with my guy. I mean, it was stuff like that happening all the time. The Stray Cats. I walked in another day. There's the Stray Cats sitting there with. By the way, you like that band, didn't you?
Yes.
That's kind of in your genre.
Well, Brian Setzer's a great guitar player.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I did so many ads. I did countless ads for the Stray Cats. So it was very cool because not only would I run into these guys at the record company, occasionally they'd come to my house to do voices on their ads. And, of course, I got to go to all their concerts and the parties afterwards. So it was a lot of fun. Now, if you want to, it's up to you. If you want to play, unless we're running short of time, I did produce. I really wanted to be a record producer, and I did produce a few records. And interestingly enough, getting back to the Maui thing, I produced a guy by the name of Merrell Fankhauser. It's a strange name, and I never really liked it. But anyway, he lived on Maui for quite a while, and he's a pretty exceptional artist. And back in 1977, 41 years ago, I co-produced and engineered a record he did called Calling from a Star. He was living on Maui at the time, and the Haleakala crater, which, by the way, has had countless UFO sightings. If any place has had UFO sightings, it's that. The government has a kind of a secret, top secret observatory up
Do
there.
they?
It's an observatory and tracking station, and it's not open to the public.
Can
can't
you
get
see
near
it from the crater?
You could see a little bit of the buildings, from the rim, but it's pretty top secret. And so there's been UFO sightings, and I think I forgot to mention too. There's even, this is really wild. It's such a giant pyramid, and it's all a pyramid. It's just a giant crater, and it's all filled in with lava over the centuries and eons, that there's even the tops of pyramids sticking up at a few places inside this giant crater. Now, and that's really true. I mean, there's been pictures of them and everything, and no one knows how big the pyramids were, where the bottom is, how they ended up inside this crater. Now, think about that for a minute. It's pretty wild. With all that being said, my friend Merrell was inspired by all this, particularly the UFO angle, and he wrote and sang a song called Calling from a Star, which I produced and engineered in my studio on Pico Boulevard in L.A. back in 1977. It's not quite the genre of stuff you play on your show. It's a pop rock song, but it's a pretty cool record with pretty cool production, kind of cosmic, and if you want to play it.
All right. I have to piss, so I will play that while I'm using the bathroom.
It's so nice to know that he's going to play the song because he has to piss.
We'll let it go while I'm using the bathroom.
All
So
right.
What's the artist called?
It's Merrell. He just went by the single name Merrell. Okay. And this is Calling from a Star.
On the Rock and Roll Geek Show.
1977.
When I was a little boy, sit up on a hill, focus on the morning star when everything was still. Days I spent in school, classmates were cool, laughed at me when I spoke of voices in the sky. We are calling from a star. We are calling from afar. We are calling.
Wait a minute, you did the video of this song on the crater?
We shot a video of this song in the Haleakala crater at sunrise.
Inside the crater?
Near the top.
So you can walk down into the crater?
Yeah, but we shot it near the top
Are
of the
there
rim.
stairs in the crater?
No.
How do you get down into the crater?
You just kind of hike down into it.
Oh, you're allowed
And we
to
shot
walk-
it on film, on 16
You're allowed
millimeter
to walk
film.
down to the bottom of the crater.
Yeah.
And how'd that crater get there? Is that a volcano?
Yeah, it's a big giant volcano that at one time erupted, and
now it's a crater.
And now it's just a big giant crater, and it inspired this
What did
song
you
you're
guys
listening
do
to.
in the? What happened in the video?
Well, there's no MTV. A bunch of local television
I mean,
stations.
did they
playing.
set up gear inside the?
Yeah, they brought 16 millimeter cameras,
No, I mean
reflectors, and
amps and stuff and drums.
oh no, he didn't play the
You just
song.
had a
we
guy
just did it.
walking
We did
around
it to the music. Yeah, we
Just
had a guy
like
with
walking
a
around
cassette, and he sang in sync with what you're
And he
hearing.
stood in the crater and sang.
Yeah, in a flowing robe.
What was in a flowing robe?
Yeah, white robe.
Did he
Yeah.
dance around too?
No, he just
Yeah,
kind
but-
of like he had a guitar and he he mimicked the guitar.
Any
and
hot women in the
and
video?
No, just
Nope.
him. So turn it up for the chorus, right?
No
Here.
no beautiful Maui women.
From a star.
I guess the star is the crater, huh?
No.
So it's like he's in outer space on another planet. Is that the concept?
No, the concept. See, can you hear us where you are? It's like it's messages from aliens
'Cause he's
calling from a star.
Yeah, so he's calling from a star. So the crater is like another planet. He's
No,
on a
no.
star.
Who's calling is he's.
Then where's the crater come in the
Listen to this
concept?
guitar licks in here.
Does he lip sync in the guitar part too?
Yes,
the
he's
lead
lip-syncing
solo.
the guitar.
I mean, does the I'm wondering where the crater fits in on the concept.
Okay, we had to do a music video. Oh,
were looking for a
I'm
reason-
so sorry. I asked you to play that. I asked you to play that
You
song.
were looking for a reason to go to Maui, basically. Listen, I got an idea, Chicky baby, for the video. What's his name again?
Merrell. Merrell.
Hey, Merrell, babe. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to record it. We're going to do your video. We're going to need to do it in Maui.
Right.
We're all going to need to get on a
Right.
plane and go to Maui.
Right. Anyway,
and my buddy, the hippie, and all the women that passed through his hut are going to need to be there too.
ladies and gentlemen, I'm
and we're going to go on a
exhausted.
crater. We're gonna get the record company that's gonna have to pay for this.
Since
we're gonna have a entourage of 25 people. We're gonna go to Maui all together and stay in a resort.
You kind of got it because Merrell was inspired to write the song by the energy he felt from the crater. You know, ooh,
he got energy from the crater.
Yeah,
that was
energy,
the concept.
The energy he felt from the crater and the whole UFO tie-in and all that, and UFOs
was there
coming from the crater.
Oh, was there like special effects, UFOs flying in the video?
Yeah, the video.
Did y'all have a string with like a
kind
Titan?
of, yeah, when you get them in it, you or your 4 or 5 listeners can check the video out on YouTube. It's called Calling. Just Google
it's
or
on video.
Go
I gotta look at it
go
now.
on YouTube. Yeah,
I
you
gotta
know, now
look
that you've
at
been
it.
asking about it, just do a search.
What is it,
Go-
Calling?
YouTube Calling from a Star.
Oh, now I
The
gotta
song
see what
you
the
just
video
played.
is.
It's a pretty hokey video. It was 1977, bro.
Calling-
It was 5
Calling
years
from-
before
I don't
MTV.
I don't see it. It's not coming up. Calling from a Star.
Yeah, it's got to be there.
Oh, Merrell Fankhauser.
Fankhauser, yeah.
Oh, here it is. Let me see what it looks like. I'm going to narrate the video.
There we are in the Hollywood Crater at sunrise.
Okay. This is what I'm going to see when I'm... Oh, it does look like a planet. He's wearing a robe.
I told you.
He's wearing a white robe
Didn't I
sitting
tell
on...
you?
His hair's... The wind's blowing his hair. It looks like he's on another planet. Yeah,
His
that's
beautiful
the concept.
blonde hair.
And then a fast zoom out.
Pull
and then
out.
he's standing up, and the robe is blowing practically off
and look
of
at the
him.
sun rising behind
The
him.
sun's coming. Looks like he's on a planet,
Yeah. Well, you're kind of getting it.
and he's just standing there
Dude, it was 1977. It's a
with an
promo
acoustic
video.
guitar.
It's
Then
a
he points to the sun. Merrell Fankhauser, good-looking guy. Fankhauser,
No, he was
good-looking
a
guy.
very good-looking guy.
Did he bring any of his women to the video shoot?
I'm not going to comment about women to you ever again.
Gary. Oh,
I'm
Peter
done.
Noon sings backup. Was he there?
Yeah, Peter Noon
Was he
came into
there?
my studio and did some backup parts.
Was he in the video
No, he's
shoot?
not in the video.
What
Yeah,
about
the video only has Merle.
Gary
There's-
Malabar of Steve Miller
Gary
Band?
Malabar
Oh,
on the
there is a
drums.
flying saucer.
Yeah.
They just imposed a flying saucer, superimposed a flying saucer.
Dude, it was the production value for 1977 is not that bad.
And he's pointing. Oh, here comes the flying saucer again. Flying across.
You're going to get
flying through space.
all 5 of your listeners are going to go
with
and
a
check out this
silhouette
video.
of Merrell Fankhauser.
Fankhauser. Fankhauser.
All right, there you go. Then the camera pans
With the guitar solo.
to the. Oh, now he's got a electric guitar. Still wearing the robe.
Notice how at least we remembered to change to an electric guitar.
Yeah. Oh, now a close up of his teeth.
Oh, and
He's
his
got
beautiful,
bad teeth.
Yeah, his teeth are not the great. They're not bad. They're just
Oh, he's not a good looking guy, is he? He looks like kind of like the Dog the Bounty Hunter.
kind of, I guess. Talk the bounty hunter.
All right, did you produce this video?
I did not. I did not produce the
Well,
video.
you were
I
there.
produced the record.
You were at the
Co-produced
shoot,
record.
though,
I was
right?
at the shoot, freezing my ass off.
You were at the shoot.
Freezing my ass off.
Oh, I thought it was warm in Maui.
You really don't listen to anything I say, do you? Remember I told you it's 10,000 feet up. It's cold out there.
Okay.
It's-
So I better bring some nice clothes, some warm clothes if I'm going up to the video shoot.
You're gonna go up there and shoot
Did
a
you
video
guys have
also?
to clear? Did you guys have to clear out the crowds when you were there shooting?
No,
There were no crowds.
no. And as a matter of fact, we didn't even clear the song since it was Merrell's song. We didn't even bother clearing the song. No, but you see,
Merrell Fankhauser. Was that his name, huh?
Merrell
I can't
Fankhauser.
imagine why he didn't break big. Merrell Fankhauser.
well, yeah, no kidding. No, he didn't use that name as an artist. Now he does.
Shot
But
in
back-
1978 on 16 millimeter film, high atop Haleakala Crater.
Haleakala. You're going to be there, bro.
Haleakala Crater
It's
on
called
the island of
Haleakala.
Maui.
Yeah.
Gary Malabar of Steve Miller Band plays drums, and Peter Noon sings backup with Merrell. It's Merrell or Merle?
It's spelled like it should be Merrell, but he pronounced it Merle.
Like Merle
and we
Haggard.
used for his as an artist, we spelled it Murl and just dropped the Fankhauser at my suggestion to just make it a little bit less awkward sounding. So anyway, hey, it's kind of a cool little record, and you got to keep in mind the video was 1977, and this is another thing that you're, not even thinking about. That was right in the middle of the Star Wars and Close Encounters, time. So the whole UFO concept, was a real big deal. As a matter of fact, we recorded another song that I wrote.
There's a rumor he made this song after he saw a UFO.
I don't know the exact. He was inspired by seeing a UFO up in the Haleakala crater. Hey, look,
he saw a UFO while he was on the crater.
Yeah, but another time.
At a different time. So he said, "Hey, I saw a UFO in this crater. Can we shoot the video here?"
Yeah, he was inspired, as I said about now 9 times before. He was inspired to write the song by being up in the crater.
And what mental institution is he in now?
The John McAllister Institute of Mentality.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's in his 70s. Anyway, hey, look, we've talked about it so much that I'm sure all 6 of your listeners, it's gone up 1 or 2, are probably now, Googling or going to YouTube and checking out the video. It's a neat song and a neat video, but it's from another time, ladies and gents.
Here's a comment on the video. I think that Merrell's song about a star...
Merrell.
I think that Merrell's song about a star and UFOs is true. I believe in other worlds, in external space. Thank you again for so much pleasure and happiness with this spacey song.
It is a spacey song.
For me, this song represents freedom and openness and is far better than most of Pink Floyd's songs.
This one particular record, he's done some stuff that's, not quite of this part. I only did a few records with him, but I actually, even if I don't say so myself, I think it's a good record. But again, it's 1977, man. It was a 1977 pop record in the middle of the Star Wars and Close Encounters theme.
We are frozen.
Well, yeah, you already know after hearing it once, you already know the melody. And here's the wildest thing about that. We had record companies like clamoring to sign him.
After this song or before?
No. When we did this song without a label. And we shopped the song to labels. We produced it. Merrell and I kind of virtually paid for it because we used my recording studio. And Merrell paid the musicians. And by the way, Gary Malaber is a great drummer. A guy named 2 guitar players, my friend Art Munson from L.A. and my late great friend Ben Benet. He's playing the leads. Great guitar players on the song. My friend Colin Cameron, again, passed away. He's playing bass. And a guy named Bill Como, I believe, did the keyboards and all those spacey sounds. Hey, man, it is what it is, but I appreciate you talking about it, and I know it's not quite in the genre of your show.
I like the video.
And it's a good thing. Well, again, you got to remember, that video is 40 years old.
I might have to recreate the video when I'm in Maui.
That would be your decision.
You don't think anybody's done that since they've gone to the
recreated
crater? Recreated
has anyone
from a Star
recreated
video?
I don't think so.
Did you guys fly to Maui specifically to do that video?
Yeah, he was back. He was in L.A. Back in L.A. at that. He was back and forth between
Flew
L.A.
a whole
and Maui.
crew there.
We didn't have that big of a crew. We flew the cinematographer and the director and 1 or 2 other people. I mean, the crew was amounted to 4 or 5 people. We shot it on 16 millimeter film. You can see there's not much lighting. I think we had a reflector and we used natural light, and they edited. I was not involved in the editing and what have you. But hey, it was a cool project. And here's the wildest. I think it's a great record, and we brought it to record companies. Of course, several of them said no, we don't want. That's what record companies always say. Any artist that's made it will always tell you that, but. Finally, we got a label to, bite and say, we really like this concept. What else have you got? I want to hear other material. And we did have other material. And Merrell went back. He was kind of depressed because of real labels turning him down. And his girlfriend at the time over in Maui was missing him.
He lived in Maui.
Yeah, he was living in Maui, but he was back and forth. He was still, quote unquote, living in Maui, and he had a girlfriend over there. And she wanted him. She missed him, wanted him to come back.
So that's why he shot the video there.
Well, no. We shot the video there because we thought that was the perfect location to shoot.
His girlfriend missed him, and he needed a free trip to Maui.
You're impossible. But anyway, after we shot the video, and we were trying to get a record deal and all this, and we had the video, which we called promo films back then. That's what they were called. A label was interested, but he said, hey, I got to go back over to Maui to be with Mary for a while. She misses me, and I don't want to lose her as a girlfriend. So I'm going over to Maui. I'll be right back, like right a week or two or whatever. When he no cell phones back in those days, there was no way to reach him. So when he went over to Maui, he was literally unreachable. And during that week or two turned into, like, as I recall, 2 or 3 months. And we got a label interested, but what could I do? He was gone. And I said, well, he'll be right back. He'll be right back. And finally they just said, well, if your artist gets back in town ever, the Star Wars craze is kind of coming to an end, the Close Encounters thing. So thanks anyway. And we didn't get a deal, and just one more disappointment. But, you'll hear a million. I'm sure you've heard a million stories like this from artists. That's just the way it is. It's all timing. In this case, the timing was a little off, but I think the record was a good record and right for the time. But enough about it. I'm tired of talking
Merrell
about it.
Fankhauser.
Merrell Fankhauser.
Merrell Fankhauser, good guy.
Yeah. But anyway, you're going to be
Is
at
he
that
still alive?
very lucky. Yeah, you asked me that. He's 74, I think I told you. He lives in where he grew up, in Pismo Beach, California. One last side note about Merrell. He grew up in Pismo Beach, and he was literally a pioneer of the surf music scene in the early 60s. Merrell wrote the original version of a little song you might have heard called Wipeout. You ever heard that song?
Yes, I have.
Wipeout. He actually wrote and recorded the original version with a band of his called The Impacts in 1962 and put it out. And there were a couple of crooked shyster producers running around Hollywood back in those days, in the surf music days, trying to find young surfing band acts, playing surf music and sign them. It was all instrumental stuff, and, steal their music and put it out or not pay them. And he's the guy that put together the group The Safaris, and they took the Wipeout song with the whole laughing and everything, took the idea, re-recorded it, slightly changed the lead guitar lead lines in the song. It was an instrumental, and, put it out, and it was a giant hit. As a matter of fact, it's like one of the quintessential surf music hits. Merrell did take him to court, and it took something like 25 years. And back in the 90s, he finally won his case.
Also, Wipeout was originally Merrell Fankhauser's.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Huh.
But when he finally settled in court years and years and years later, there was it wasn't settled, but the judge ruled that he would have to split the writing with the guy that stole it from him, and would only start getting royalties from a certain period, forward. And
no one's buying Wipeout by then.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, it's still used, so he still gets a little income from it now, because actually, the song is so quintessential that it's used in things, and so that's a kind of an interesting story in itself. But just another crazy little story from John McAllister.
Another casualty of the music business.
Yeah. It's ripe with them, man. You and I have talked. I could tell you stories I have enough stories for 20 more Rock and Roll Geek shows. Not 21 quite, but 20 maybe.
So it's Memorial Day weekend. You're up here for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that was a good memory, by the way, about Maui. Yeah.
Not rest in peace, but good luck to you, Merrell Fankhauser.
Yeah, rest in peace, Merrell Fankhauser. Merrell, when you die, rest in peace while you're still alive.
We'll be calling you from a star.
You from a star. What do you say, Michael? This has been a good show. Do you want to do a little in memoriam?
Oh, is this your production?
Yes.
John McAllister did a little production bit we're going to do here.
It's hardly
what are we going to do, a Grammy
bit.
thing? Like
I just thought
people die. So Memorial Day is not to honor soldiers; it's to honor dead soldiers, right?
Well, Memorial Day is to pretty much.
So we're going to honor dead musicians.
It's basically to honor those who we remember and those who served and whatever. That's what Memorial Day is all about. So I thought it might be, I came up with this idea that you seemed to like at the time, and that was just a few hours ago, to maybe have our own little in memoriam for the rockers we lost in the last year, from May of 2017.
Should I find like a sad? You're gonna sing. You're gonna do
to May
like
of 2000 to this day, to
like
this Memorial Day.
on the
last
Oscars
year.
when people die. We're gonna have music. We're gonna have a sad song going, and you're gonna name name the people.
Yeah, it's kind of we call it so.
Right.
That being said, this is our to end our Memorial Day. Our Memorial Day special Rock and Roll Geek show. We could
then we'll play a song to get us out of here after this.
Okay. Well, this is our tribute in memoriam.
Should I play a song to get us out of here? Maybe we'll just make this the song to get us out of here.
What's that?
The in memoriam.
Whatever you want to do.
All
Well,
right,
we
let's
should
do
we
that.
should pay a little tribute to Doug at the end.
All
But
right.
okay.
Oh, okay. We'll pay tribute. Oh,
All
no,
right.
we'll do that. We'll do that.
So here we go. This is in memory of all the rockers we've lost over the last year, from May of last year
find a sad song
to
here.
the May of this year. You got something that you could play that might be appropriate?
Oh, how about this?
Oh. Well, what's better than Eric Clapton? That's been used on television. So here we go. In Memoriam. Chris Cornell.
Wait a minute. There's two up here high. Look at these up here.
Oh.
You missed
Oh,
a
you
couple.
added. Okay, we better start it again.
Oh, this bit's bombing already.
Well, our in memoriam is to be done once again. So once again, we remember those we've lost. Banner Thomas, age 63.
From Molly Hatchet, died of pneumonia.
Jay Giles of the Jay Giles Band.
Natural causes. Natural causes.
Chris Cornell.
Suicide by hanging.
Michael's giving the cause of death in case you haven't figured that out. Greg Allman from the Allman Brothers Band.
Liver cancer.
At the age of 69. Gary DiCarlo of the group Steam. Na Na Hey Hey, Kiss Him Goodbye. And we did.
Lung cancer.
Lung cancer is what kissed him goodbye.
Chester Bennington. Lincoln Park. Suicide by hanging.
What page are we
He
on?
dropped all the papers.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. Goldie McJohn
Heart attack.
from Steppenwolf. Our friend Glenn Campbell. Will you do these slowly, man? Glenn Campbell, 81 years old.
Alzheimer's disease.
A hero of mine, Walter Becker from Steely Dan. What a guitarist.
Cancer of the esophagus.
Age 67.
Dave Luback from Molly Hatchet. Right underneath Walter Becker.
Oh, I was just letting it run a little bit.
Heart attack.
Who had the heart attack, Dave?
Dave Luback. Oh, God.
Troy Gentry.
All right, you passed over two, but that's fine. Helicopter accident.
Rick Stevens.
No, I'm lost. Okay.
Yeah, Rick
Liver
Stevens.
cancer.
There you go. Grant Hart.
Husker Du. Liver cancer.
Oh, boy. Craig McGregor, 68 years old.
From Foghat.
Right. You see what?
No, I'm lost.
Lung cancer.
No, I'm lost. You're on the wrong page.
Troy Blakely.
Wait a minute. You're on the wrong page. You
He's a
dropped.
record producer.
You dropped. Fuck, man. You're on the wrong page. What the fuck? All right, where are you now? Go ahead. You passed over Tom Petty. Cardiac arrest.
Tom Petty, cardiac arrest. Where are we now? Robert Popwell.
I'm lost. Fuck this.
The young
this
rascal.
bit's dead. you dropped all the papers, man. Where are you? Oh, God.
How about Chuck Mosley?
Sure,
Did
why
we,
not?
did we mention Malcolm Young from AC/DC?
Dementia.
64 years old. David Cassidy, 67 years old.
Liver failure.
Robert Popwell from the Young Rascals. God, I love that band.
Unknown causes.
That's my favorite cause of death. I think we already mentioned Greg McGregor. And who's this guy? You wanted me to mention him. Kato, the record producer for The Chemical Romance, Blondie. Okato Katwana, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Kawandia,
Injuries sustained in a motorcycle accident.
and Charles Neville, the Neville
Back it
brothers.
up here. Is that it? No.
I think that might have been pretty
No.
the list.
Roy Thomas from the Moody Blues.
Yeah.
Prostate cancer. Chris Tangarides, heart failure following pneumonia. Eddie Clark, Fast Eddie Clark from Fastway and Motorhead, died of pneumonia. Dave Holland from Judas Priest,
What?
noted child molester.
Try to contain your excitement. This is a in
Jim
memoriam.
Rodford from Argent, The Kinks and the Zombies, complications from a fall. Dennis Edwards from The Temptations, complications from meningitis.
Did
Mars Cowling from the Pat Travers Band,
Did we mention Mike Harrison from Spooky Tooth?
unknown causes.
Mike was 72. Of course, we mentioned Tom Petty. Record producer Jerry Ross. He was, 84 years old when he passed. And Bunny Siegler, another record producer. He was 76.
An asshole he was.
Oh, come on. Respect the dead, man. Okay. Ian Sheldon.
The Saints.
Right.
Laryngeal cancer.
Yeah, he was 60 years old.
Gordon Downey from the Tragical Hip, gastoblastoma. Glioblastoma.
Martin Eric Allen.
From Celtic Frost, heart attacks.
Let's not forget.
George Young from the Easy Beats.
That's right.
Producer from AC/DC.
He died 70 at the age of
Unknown
70.
causes.
Oh, and let's not forget whose credit is being one of the architects of rock and roll himself. Fats Domino was 89 years old. Died October 29th of last year.
Ladies and gentlemen, in memoriam.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Happy Memorial Day.
with one of the worst in memoriam presentations ever broadcast anywhere. Hey, I want to give one last, on a little serious note, one last posthumous shout out to my late rocker friend Doug Feiger, founder of the Knack.
Yes, I interviewed Bert Navier. We did a track by track of Get the Knack. I should probably post that as a Rock and Roll Geek rerun. It's a lost interview. That's a great episode, actually.
The first, as a matter of fact, one of the first, the first recorded song, major label recorded song that Doug and Burton wrote was on that album I produced with Doug a year before the Knack from the Sunset Bombers, which we talked about, in the past.
Yes.
And the Sunset Bombers were originally a group Doug put together called the Rats. And I don't know if Doug put it together. I think he did. He probably did. Anyway, they were called the Rats, and the record company didn't like that name, so they changed it to the Sunset Bombers.
Because with a band name like Rat, it will never sell.
Yeah, pretty well. Look, I didn't make the decision; they did. I engineered and co-produced the album, but it was a good album. We've talked about it before, but maybe today there's one song we could play. I don't know if you've played it before, to end the show, because for Doug and all the other rockers that we totally fucked up trying to mention, or at least I did. Hey, look, I dropped the pages. It happens. Shit happens. But still, that doesn't change the emotion. We remember them all, and I certainly hope that Doug and
Should I
all
play the Eric Clapton again?
No, and that Doug and all the rockers we mentioned, keep on rocking forever. And with that, you might want to play a song of the same name by the Sunset Bombers and wish everybody a happy Memorial Day.
All
Well,
right.
or at least a very memorable Memorial Day.
All right. Before I play that, let me thank some people, or let me say thank you to everybody who donates to the show, and thank you for listening, friends. They can't all be winners, especially this one. But
I'll never produce another Rock and Roll Geek show again.
no, it was a good episode. You did good, Joe Klein. You're
it-
welcome to come back anytime.
We gave it the old college try, and
Just try to hold on to the pages.
It's always entertaining to your listeners who are up to 18 now. I
yes,
understand.
I think 4 or 5.
I'm looking at the count. So keep on rocking forever, everybody. And Michael, great to see you. Hope to see you again on another rock and roll.
How can
Geek
we
show in
find
the
you
future.
online or anywhere?
Facebook.
Look for
Go
Joe
to
Klein.
facebook.com/joe.klein.producer. Joe.klein, Klein, .producer on Facebook.
You can find me at rockandrollgeek.com. You can email me, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Let me know that with the subject line. So if you like this episode, send an email to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com with the subject line, Butler, you are a piece of shit. Don't ever do this episode again. Joe Klein's way better than you. You ruined the show. Put that in the subject line. Or
die Joe Klein. That would work.
if you didn't like the show, send an email to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com and say, Butler, you're a genius. Put that in the subject line if you didn't like the show.
It all makes perfect sense to me.
You
Anyway,
can
man,
find-
great to be here, Michael Butler. I always enjoy it. I hope you're
Not finished with the plugs.
Oh, sorry.
Find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek. Find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek Don't Ask.
Wow.
Find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. And please keep the donations coming because without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled, suicide by hanging kind of death.
And to all 28 of you out there listening,
They're growing by the minute.
Isn't that amazing? Look at those numbers
All right.
adding up.
What's this band called we're going to close out with?
We're closing out with the
Sunset Bombers.
a track from the old Sunset Bombers album with Doug
All right.
Feiger and Brandon.
Thanks for
Madison
listening,
were in
friends. This is Rockin' Forever by Doug Feiger and the Sunset Bombers. Doug Feiger is a super nice guy. I met him
Great
at
guy.
Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp when I covered rock.
there. Gone
and roll.
way too soon from brain cancer.
He was best
Yeah.
friends with the great Elliot Easton from the Cars as well. Did you know that?
Really
Nice. I gotta
think
find.
I did know that,
Do I
yeah.
have an ID from Doug Feiger? I think I do. But,
ID? Oh, you mean a rock and roll geek show?
Yeah, but I don't have. I can't. I
No,
can't
that's
find
okay.
it.
Doug was a great guy. I have great memories of hanging out with him.
He said, "I love Michael Butler." As a matter of fact.
He actually, Sharona used to come to recording sessions.
Oh, really?
Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
She was good looking.
Not bad.
Not that good, huh?
So, hey, man, thanks a lot. Great being here, and keep on rocking forever.
What are we going to do when we get done with the show? We're going to go back upstairs and watch TV?
Do we need to talk about that now?
All right. All right.
Keep on rocking forever, everybody.
All right.
Tell 'em I've been rocking forever since I see the
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.